Hi guys, so this week we're talking about sexism in sort of geek nerd culture. It's honestly not my forte. I tend to know nothing really about this area, but so I thought I'd talk to you about how, or why even, I sort of tend to avoid a lot of geek culture. There seems to be a lot of competing and sort of one-upmanship that I see in sort of everyone's trying to outdo themselves, or outdo each other on how sort of geeky they can get, and there's all these constant sort of challenges about, you know, the extent of your knowledge on various areas, and it seems like you can't really enjoy something without belittling someone else for not knowing as much, or, you know, flaunting your superior knowledge over them. And it looks like to me that it's that, but times like a billion for girls. Because it's so weird for girls to be into geeky stuff, so people need them to absolutely prove themselves as, you know, that they're really into it, they're a real geek, and not just one of those, you know, gamer girls or fakers who are just doing it to get guys. Because, you know, the only reason girls are ever interested in something is to impress guys. Now this really pisses me off, because this leads to the whole like Special Snowflake mentality of people going on about how, you know, I'm not like those other girls, and constantly showing off how much that they're into whatever different thing it is, just to prove that they're, you know, different, and in order to be truly accepted. And a lot of this is just so much sort of internalized misogyny. It's going on about how, you know, they're not like the other girls, they're better, and, you know, all other girls are rubbish, and you know, they're different than the rest, and that just really insults other people. And when do you ever see a guy having to prove that he's a real gamer guy or like a real nerd guy and not just doing it to get girls? Like, you don't. But yeah, and if a girl does sort of, you know, pass a certain level of, like, a certain threshold of being really good or really into something, then she turns into one of the guys. That's another really irritating thing, because it's like, why can't a girl be good at it and be a girl, and that be the be all and end all? No, if she's good at it, that means she must have some manly aspect to her. It's bullshit. Because it's such a male dominated area, there's a whole load of sexist, misogynist, and just downright disgusting behaviour and attitudes that go on in sort of geek nerd culture that I can't even begin to discuss. Like, you know, for example, the fact that any females in geek culture have to be overtly sexualized. And there's the awful harassment that Anita Sarkeesian of Feminist Frequency has been having to deal with. There's the attempted rape backstory that Lara Croft is having. But I think the few sort of geeky things that I am quietly into, like, I don't know, Lord of the Rings and Doctor Who, I guess, they are fucking riddled with sexist awfulness, or they just outright ignore women. My sister and my mum were trying to help me think of the women in Lord of the Rings, and we got to about 3, and then went online to look it up. And even when we looked online, in terms of actual noteworthy characters who do stuff and aren't just decoration or some man's backstory, there's shockingly few. And Doctor Who, I won't even get into, because it has so much stuff like whole mystic pregnancies and just downright abuse of women and women's bodies to further the male characters' story arcs. I think that geek culture and nerd culture is becoming more and more mainstream and less male dominated, which can only be a good thing, but it does mean that there is a hell of a lot of vicious backlash by people who are claiming that the girls who are into it are, you know, only doing or faking it, doing it for guys, or, you know, actually viciously going on attacks of women who are trying to address the sexism and problems within geek culture, like Anita Sarkeesian. What I need right now is for people to just accept it when someone tells you that they're into something. And after all, if they are lying about it, and they're just, you know, they're just pretending to be into something to impress someone, then they're only making fools out of themselves, and the person they're trying to impress will probably cotton on, so why should it be your business in the first place? That's all I really have to say about geek culture and sexism. As I say, I'm not really It's not really my area at all, but those are my thoughts. Okay, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts about it, because you probably know way more than me. So let me know in the comments, or on Facebook, on Twitter, on Tumblr, on various whatevers. Okay, bye!